Yo folks, and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we'll be doing a reroll guides and tier list for CounterSide Global, brought to you by Studio B-Side. We're gonna go ahead and get into this guest account and bring you guys all the things in order to jumpstart this account as best as possible. Alright, so as soon as you start the game, you'll be brought to this section. Go ahead and click the skippies, and then we're just gonna go through the tutorial. I would say, if you're wondering how long does this tutorial take, maybe 3 to 5 minutes depending on how fast you can click through everything, close through everything, and skip. There are going to be some parts where you can save seconds. The most important part is when you enter the codes in order to get the initial summon to get the awakened unit as soon as you start the game. Because if you can get through that portion, that'll save you a lot of time and make rerolling a lot easier. And while we're going through like the reroll guides for this initial portion, because I want this to be a holistic guide where you can see all the steps that I go through, we'll be talking about my first impressions so far of the global release. As far as I can tell, everything's been going really well. The quality of life is much better. The menu is super snappy. It runs perfectly so far on like phones, emulators, and I'm assuming PC is going to be even better. And that's really nice considering how CounterSide is a graphically intensive game. Of course, the audio sounds perfect because it has like that cybertone feel to it. I don't know how to really describe it. I like the soundtrack to say the least. And of course, the animations, they look crisp and very clean, as you would, because this is sort of reminiscent of Epic 7, but at the same time, it's not a direct copy because units are known as towers. It's more of like a tower defense that's side-scrolling in some ways. The loading screens can be slightly bit annoying, but they're not intrusive to the point that stops me from having fun in the game. There's some games like the previous Digimon games, Echoes of Mana, where the loading screens were absolutely abhorrent. I really dislike that in my personal opinion, but so far here, nothing too crazy. And then as far as the character and stories, will you get like connection with them? In my opinion, you get some connections, but not to the point where it's overly dramatic. I feel like in Genshin Impact or Fate Grand Order, those stories really shine. Where you have Yumina and Hilde, the things that they go through, it's not as crazy in my opinion, mostly because a lot of the things that you go through, it's just 2D animations, no 3D like acting and no insane voice acting, but the Korean dub, and I believe this should have a JP dub soon because this is out in JP. I believe those are pretty good, and they do highlight the voice actors in this game. So this is probably the part where you can save a couple seconds off of the reroll, where they're about to find this fire support. You're gonna put it a little bit more forward because they're gonna walk up front, and then there you go, you take out most of them. Sometimes you can get this guy to jump back a little. Hilde will drop down and he does the little ground pounds, nothing too crazy. And then after that, you just spam the units. Technically, you could spam this dude back here. They would do more damage to the towers in the back, but it doesn't really matter because we're trying to take out the beast. He's going to be the one. He's level 5. Assassin units are really important. I think his name is Drew something. The most important part is they can get into your backline. Important PvP units in the future. They're not really that great in PvE because in PvE, they just throw waves of enemies at you. You can never really handle the backline appropriately. So there we are. We're technically done with the reroll portion because now you can just go into manage account, enter a coupon code. First one is CS Global 2022. You hit OK right here, you enter the code, and then here you do CSTRAILER and you hit OK, you get that. And then after that, you go into the mails right here, go ahead and get all. You have a random chance of getting a pretty decent SSR from this one. If you're lucky, you can get Yang Horim. I believe that's her name. We got Kyle Wong. He's mostly used for PvP. He is alright. If we could get Evan Keller, no. But we got the decent R healer right there. And this unit right here is also pretty decent. Sylvia for mech style teams. And then go ahead and jump back, go right here into the shop. These steps is really important. That way you don't get locked behind the menus and have a couple of seconds added to your timer. Go into your permanent packages right here, go to classified, buy this one right here. Yes, it's worth it. I recommend buying that every single week. Why? Because you need to go over here into recruit and classified recruitment. In my opinion, we're done with the reroll section. That was like roughly 5 to like 3 minutes, depending on how fast you can click through everything. This is going to be the first free summon. You get 1 free summon, similar to Epic 7 and other games that provide this capability. Right there, I forget her name, the Chainsaw waifu, but she's pretty decent. So we're going to do a 10x right here. Hopefully we can get Awakened Hilde. That's going to be the goal for my reroll personally. Awakened Hilde is not that good. We'll show her on the tier list. But the reason why I want her is because getting Awakened units is fairly difficult. And Awakened units are relatively decent at the early games. So nothing crazy right there. And then I could use like the free one. I'm going to go ahead and do it because I'm re-rolling and I want as many chances possible to pull on this so we don't get anything too crazy. Just note some of the R and SR units are very usable. But there you go. If you're wondering what this currency is, it's a premium currency, so you can obtain it. And like I said, the only way to obtain those permanent packages or the classified recruitments is here right now. One more way to get the premium currency outside of spending money over here is jump into the hamburger menu, go into the shop right here, go into the shop list, go into seasonal, go into gauntlet point, and then scroll down to 3. This right here is probably the most insane currency that you can buy within the PvP shops. Obviously, you're going to need to grind to this rank in order to obtain it. And then outside of that, you can get fusion cores as well, which will be useful to increase the gear levels and stuff for your characters. So a couple more things with this banner. This is probably the most important section to summon right now at the current stages. Not the best character, but still awakened units are hard to get. You can get this currency by spending money. You can also get it from the shops like I showed it via the permanent package right here and going to the classified recruitment section, also costing the things, but hey, you get that 1 week to purchase the other version with diamonds. Go into shop list right here, go into seasonal. This is gauntlet, this is PvP. You can also get classified employment contracts over here. And then you can get fusion cores, which is, I believe, some sort of limit break fiction sort of thing that helps your characters gain levels and break past their limits. And then let's go over here. This is pridewen.co. This is by far the best website to get all news regarding the CounterSide. Here are going to be the codes that I used earlier in order to get the extra 2,000 quartz, which is really important. And then here's going to be the tier list. Note there's going to be 2 sets of tier lists over here. There's going to be the global one, and there's going to be the C or Southeast Asia server tier list, right? But the most important things is pay attention to the Southeast Asia server tier list, mostly because there's going to be a couple of units here like Zhao Lin and Estarossa that are going to be getting future iterations of themselves. And that's really important because if you jump into the global server right here, you'll see that Estarossa and Zhao Lin, they're almost like SS tier or perfect rankings, right? But Estarossa is really good for PvP, especially the fact that they lowered her cost. If you're wondering what cost is, it's a pretty important variable within the game. So you can check out all the units by, once again, going to hamburger menu, go into the collections right here, and then go into employees. And then you can see how much each unit costs based off of clicking their faces. So Estarossa right here, she's 4 costs. I believe she used to be like 5 or 6. So the fact that they lowered that is really nice for her. A couple of things with this tier list is that there's going to be individual ratings based off of overall PvE and PvP. The reason why Yang Harim is so good is because she provides haste, which is important in order to speed up everyone's attacks. Yeah, she does a heal, but it's nothing too crazy. I would say Evelyn Keller is actually a pretty decent healer. She's also an aerial unit and a counter unit, so she gets lots of buffs. And then we have Nanahara Chifuyu. She's a good striker, and if you want like a synopsis on why they're decent, you can scroll down and you can see the analysis for each unit. She's the best 3-cost striker, especially in the early game. She's a Swiss Army knife, so she can pretty much go on any team, and she's really helpful. She falls off a little bit at the later games, and if you jump back, you have to change it back into global. But outside of that, Zhao Lin, her specific thing is to take down people like Chifuyu Nanahara. Snipers are really good at doing that. And Zhao Lin is, of course, good at PvE. Be careful of like Lin Xian, who's in SS tier, but she's only SS for PvE, not that great for PvP. And then for soldier units like Administrational Riflemen, in case you want to run soldier meta, it's a little bit more difficult, but they're very meta right now. The only reason why it's a little bit difficult is because a lot of the units that are soldier are mostly good for PvP, and they're not the greatest for PvE. If you want an easier time, you just run counter units. And the reason why you want to run counter units, which is, the main heroes, is because they just have more natural buffs together. Whereas soldier units, if you run them all together, they have more natural buffs together. And if you want to be insanely ballsy, you can run the mech style teams, which are really good. It's just a little bit more harder to pull them off because some of them are a little bit more cost. but hey, they're still pretty decent in my opinion. If you want to see what I'm going to personally try to reroll for, you have someone like Gaiyun right here who's pretty good. Rosaria is really good. Ainzhen's Way, Xiaolin, Kao Wang mostly for PvP. Awakened Hilde, if you saw on the tier list, she's actually not that high. She's gonna be an S tier, and that's mostly due to her cost. And you can see here, she's gonna be costing 6, which is insane. She's gonna be very tanky, and she's gonna be mostly used for PvP. PvE, she's gonna be decent, but PvP is where she shines because she can just take out like the back line in some ways. Because of her push, she can push a lot of people back. And then with this character, Lee Jisoo Awakened, she takes away like debuffs and stuff, but outside of that, she's nothing too crazy, and she adds debuffs. At the end of the day, not really like the craziest unit, and I believe you get her for free later on. That's a quick synopsis on like the tier list and stuff. Just be careful of a couple of units, especially because there's this thing called the ReArm feature right here. And the ReArm feature is what allows certain units to become not awakened, but they get a class change like in Epic 7. I think it was called Awakening in Epic 7. Regardless of the point, you can rearm units after you meet a certain requirement. For example, Irie Alfred, who's really good in PvP, she gets a different version of herself. I would say she's one of the better free-to-play tanks at the very beginning. The ones that you need to watch out for is someone like Esther Rosa right here. Elizabeth Pendragon, she's decent, but she's more of a PvP unit. Notice that she gets her blue blood form, which makes her insane in PvP. You have synopsises on why they're good. And then you have someone like Xiaolin who becomes like an absolute terror. But I would say Xiaolin and then Elizabeth and Esteros are the ones to watch out for. Someone like Best Streamer Mia and then Yumina, they don't really get too many upgrades, so don't fret about that. Except for this one, Purple Miss Laura is actually really good for Southeast Asia PvP. But that about wraps up like the tier list and infos regarding CounterSide. I believe I'm going to be starting to main this game. You can also get someone like Lee Yumi because she's pretty decent as a defender. I like her quite a bit. I'm going to try to reroll for her. If I can't get Awakened Hilde, then Lee Yumi is probably my second best bet. But yeah, wrapping things up on this video, I really enjoyed CounterSide. I can't wait to play it more. And then, you know, if you accidentally click home right here, you're going to be brought into more menus and slow down your rerolls. Let me do this part really quick after you input your names and everything. I haven't showed you the most important part where you actually reroll everything. So you put your names right here, because let's say you didn't get the summons that you wanted. I didn't complete the full reroll. You go into here, it's going to make you do the thing. So this is extra steps that you don't want to do. It's going to make you scout. It's going to make you use 1,000 gems, which I personally dislike because those 1,000 gems could have gone to the weekly. But it's going to force you to do this in order to continue through the game. You don't get a guaranteed SSR from there. You go to the 30 by 30. This is the same feature as Epic 7, where you get 30 rerolls and each one is guaranteed with an SSR. I don't recommend Elizabeth Pendragon from that one. You can go ahead and skip everything, and then you can confirm or check other recruitments. I would check other recruitments, try to get something else. Yeah, that's not that great. If I were to pick, I would try to get Gaiyun or Kao Wang or Esther Rosa from this selective recruitment. Let's go ahead and jump over here. You're going to go into the cog menu. You go to manage account and delete account. I'm not sure if you guys saw it earlier. I'm going to go ahead and delete this account. You're going to type in see you again, and you'll be brought back to the main menu and do it all over again, you know, going through the rerolls and trying to find the character that best suits you in this tier list. I recommend a lot of people go for Nanohara Chifuyu as well. I think you can get her from that initial role, and then try to get Evelyn Keller because she's one of the best supports. I don't believe you can get Yang Harim from that initial 30 by 30 because she's going to be off banner. Oh no, wait, I did get her, so you can get her. I got her from like the initial pool, so you can get her randomly as well. So if you get like Nanohara Chifuyu and Yang Harim, that's really good. I'm just trying to get Awakened Hilde for the flex, but she's only really for PvP and not that necessary for a lot of people, because her 6 cost is too much in PvE. Anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 35,000 subs, we're doing a giveaway. Don't forget to check the guides in pridewin.co, and huge credits to the creators of this website. I believe they have the best info when it comes to CounterSide things. But yeah, thanks so much. Have yourself a fantastic day, and see you guys in the next video.